Johnson here, and I've got Alan Heineck on the line, and it's a bonus call, a bonus episode of This Week in Grip. It's episode number 44, and in this one we're going to do a rundown about the visit that I had to Dubai over the last week with Bader himself and the phenomenon known as Laine Snook. Alan, thanks for taking the time doing a little bonus call here with me. Everybody, if you want to check out the last couple calls, call number 42, episode 42 was a real good one that Alan and Ricardo did. They covered all kinds of cool training stuff that they've been working on, and also the Finnish Nationals, among other things. So you got to check that out. Episode 43 was a rundown of the the hands-on grip games that took place on February 3rd, so make sure to go grab that and give that a listen to. And now we will run down what happened in Dubai. So this is my second time going over. I am most appreciative to Bader for having me over there. Dubai is like another world, man. It's incredible over there. It's really amazing, and got to meet Laine Snook. So, Alan, what would you like to know first, brother? I can't wait to talk about this awesome trip.
Well, I have been dying to hear about Laine Snook, quite honestly. He's a guy, I don't know a lot about him. I know he's a big, strong dude. He doesn't have a lot of presence on the grip board. He chimes in once in a while. What he puts in seems useful. He's always anxious to help. He puts himself out there. It's like if people want ideas or assistance, he makes himself available for it. But other than that, I don't know a whole lot about, I know some of the impressive feats he's done. But we don't see training videos from him regularly or anything like that. So I am definitely looking forward to hearing more from him and the type of things that you got to see him do while you were out there.
Oh, for sure. So he's from the UK, and I verified, and it is actually Laine Snook. I guess that's the proper pronunciation. But I thought it was Snook for the longest time. Of course, I think I never actually talked to the guy until maybe 2015 through Facebook. He just does not interact that much. So as it turns out, he's kind of left like the digital age behind. Those are pretty much his words. So he doesn't get online that much. But some of the stuff he's done over the years is just incredible. So he's set world records on the Rolling Thunder. He's beaten them in training and hasn't gone to competitions and set them. And he's also known for lifting the Millennium dumbbell and also cleaning the inch dumbbell, and probably the most powerful and smoothest clean of the inch dumbbell on video that's out there. So, and let me tell you, man, something right now. This dude, on top of being super strong and having a fantastic grip, is, as my dad would say, is funnier than a rubber crutch. This guy is hilarious.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, dude, funnier than a rubber crutch.
I'm using that one. That is awesome.
Dude, I can't repeat some of the jokes that were told, like some of the punchlines, some of the funny moments, just because I don't know who else listening to the show, and I don't want to offend anybody.
Sure.
But it wasn't anything bad. We weren't like picking on people. It's just some of it was a nature that isn't necessarily what you would normally talk about in public. But it was a lot of it was, and all of it was amazing. First off, the guy that drove us around, Rasak, he drove me around when I was there in September, and Laine picked up on Rasak's, driving style very quickly. I told Laine, I was like, no, dude, the rules are different here, I'm sure, than what you're used to in the UK on your highways. This is going to be quite an experience for you. So I kind of prefaced the whole entire thing with a statement along those lines, and Rasak did not disappoint, dude. I'm talking about changing lanes with no signals, when you want to change lanes, you don't wait for someone to give you the right of way. You just put your nose in front of the other car. There was a portion where I swear he drove for about a mile while he was asleep. He drove. We stopped at a red light one night. Now remember, dude, he wouldn't even pick us up till 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and then we'd be out until like 5 a.m. So, and Rasak did like all the driving. So he passed out one time at the red light. We were stopped at a red light. It was a really long red light, and the next thing I hear is,
oh wow,
yeah. So I'm like, so what you may not know about Laine is he is partially deaf. He has some pretty serious hearing impairments. So when I saw Rasak doing that, I was like, hey, like I was in the front seat, Laine was in the back. I'm like, hey, and Laine didn't hear me. He didn't see me either because his eyes were wide open from the back seat, fixed on Rasak sleeping in the front seat behind the wheel. So I was like, man, this cat is tired. He is tired. So I let him sleep, man. It was probably a 2-minute red light. So I'm like, his brain needs sleep. He's getting sleep. So finally it turned green. And Laine, like, whack. He's whacking me on the shoulder. I was like, yeah, I know. So then I grabbed Rasak's leg, and holy cow, he jumped up and his hands started flying around, dude. It was amazing, dude. It was just
like a thing out of a movie.
Exactly. It's like when you fall asleep on the side of the road and then you wake up and there's a tractor trailer blazing past you and you're like, oh my God, what just happened? That's exactly what happened, dude. I wish I would have pulled the phone out and done a video of it. It would have been easy money on YouTube. It was just awesome, dude. There was one night where we drove from one end of Dubai out to the other, and we went to see some exotic animals in this one sheikh's personal zoo. And it was about an hour and a half to get there. Dubai is actually huge. It's huge. And on the way back, Rasak was like, he had the window down, right? And it was cold. It was a cold night. And he had the window down. He's like, hey, Bader, you know why I've got the window down? And Bader's like, no, why? He goes, because I feel like I'm going to fall asleep. This was like the night before he actually did fall asleep. So we had to take a rest stop. We had to go out and get like energy drinks or something like that. I don't remember. But get out and walk around so that he could get all refreshed. I mean, they're long days, dude. They're long days. They're intense days. And, basically after the first day that we were there, Laine and I said, to heck with it, we're not getting up for breakfast. We're just going to make lunch our breakfast. And we just changed the pattern of the day because that one day we got up at like 9:30 and then we didn't get home until 5 a.m. It was almost a 24-hour day. So it was very, very intense. But yeah, Laine is just an amazing guy. I had such a good time with him. It was quite the experience. We trained 3 days. So we got there on, did I leave on Tuesday? I think maybe I left on Tuesday and got there, it was already Wednesday. Oh, man. It's all blurred together. But anyway, we trained 3 days. We trained on Thursday, Saturday, and then Tuesday, which was cool because the way it worked out last time, we only got to train twice. So we got an extra training day. So that was awesome. That was really, really cool. What stunk was I was still dealing with a back injury, just a little tweak. I would say it was a minor tweak because I don't even know what the heck happened. I just woke up one day and my back was hurting. And this was back before the grip contest on February 3rd. So it was bothering me like through the whole trip. And remember, it's a 12-hour flight from Boston to Dubai. So I'm sitting there in that chair for like 12 hours with a bad back, so that didn't help any. And it took like 5 days for that thing to work out so that I could actually bend over and actually try the Millennium dumbbell. So I'm glad that I did finally get to try it, but the first 2 days it was like, I don't dare because my back hurts so bad.
Sure.
Yeah, so really I was tentative. And as we're, each night as we're walking around the city, I'm like doing all these stretches for my like piriformis, glutes, my hips, my hamstrings. I'm like, every time we stopped somewhere, I was stretching. I was trying to do everything I could to get it to loosen up. And I did a chiropractic adjustment before I left, but it just didn't take. It just didn't remedy the situation. So it's crazy how these things pop up. I mean, most of the time when I have a back issue, it's like, oh, crap, my back just went out. But in this case, nothing of the sort. Nothing of the sort happened. Just woke up one day and it was super tight.
Crazy. Yeah, I've had some back issues. It's definitely not a lot of fun, but it's even worse when they just up and sneak up on you. I've had that moment too. It's generally just been like muscular, something short-lived, but yeah, no, that's nothing to mess around with.
Yeah, for sure. I got all kinds of stuff on video, man, and I got as much of it uploaded as I could. There's one day where I really took some time to upload it to YouTube, but I only made like a couple of them public, and I forgot that I uploaded as many as I did. I actually uploaded like 6, so they will be up on the YouTube as soon as I can get them all up there. A couple of videos that are up right now that you can see though, Bader actually got a 2-finger clean of a blob 50, which I guess he's done before, but it's been hit or miss. And we kind of coached him through it because what he did was he lifted it the first time with 2 fingers and like high pulled it. Like easy. Like he could have licked it. It was that high. So we're like, yo, dude, you should try the clean. So then what he did when he cleaned it is he started like modifying his technique so it was like out away from his body more, and it became inefficient, so he couldn't clean it. It was interesting. It was almost like he tightened up a little bit or, changed something, and it started causing him problems. So then what we had him do is just try to high pull it and then rotate your elbow down, and sure enough, once he did it, he was able to get it.
Nice. Yeah, his strength's really taken off.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's impressive. Oh, cool.
And let me tell you, Bader gets some of the worst hate mail, the absolute worst hate mail that you can imagine.
Grip related?
Yes.
You're talking about? No kidding.
Yes, absolutely vicious, malicious, dirty, swearing, racist, anti-Semitic, or whatever it would be that would apply to Muslims. All that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
vicious
that's
stuff.
BS, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, but he shared one of them with us, and it actually, I'm sure the guy thinks that we're sitting there crying with the terrible things he's saying, but it was actually like we found it humorous. We were like laughing our asses off at some of it. It was so tasteless and infantile even that we actually just like laughed it off. It was amazing.
Oh.
But
well, okay. At least he's able to shrug it off.
Oh yes, yeah.
That's it's probably like some of the racist jokes you hear about that even the race that's being picked on laughs at because it's just so
right.
ridiculous almost. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
All right. I've heard. Yeah. There are some white jokes I laugh at. Yeah.
Yeah. But
okay.
I mean, this guy I'm sure is taking like God knows how long to write these emails. Half hour, 45 minutes, an hour.
Is this the same offender?
Well, it's impossible to tell because the person's a coward and doesn't use his own email address.
Oh, okay.
It comes from like a blind email, or there's some service that you can use and it won't tell you who sent it, and you can't reply to it.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
One of those deals. But oh my gosh, dude, they were even picking on Rasak. because he's saying that whatever lifts that he did, the weights were fake and stuff like that. It's unbelievable, dude. Just crazy. So that was a big laugh, and then then we're throwing our own sense of humor into it, basing coming off the stuff that the guy's saying, how ridiculous it is. Oh my God, dude, we laughed for probably an hour the one time, and we were literally crying. It was so funny.
It's one thing I can't believe that's carried over to grip is the fake weights concept. If that's what this person's suggesting, We talk about that's something that I'd never heard come up until right now. We as a community have made such a point to weigh our stuff and show legitimacy that nobody really has a leg to stand on that one.
Right.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It's insane, but hilarious at the same time. Another funny thing that happened was we were at this place called the Global Village, and as you walk around this big area, there'll be this big facade of a building, and it might be Iran. You go inside, and the place features food and crafts that you would find in the country of Iran. And then you go to the next place, and it might be the United States, and it's got cowboy stuff, and it's got other stuff, hot dogs. You can buy hot dogs. You can buy stuff specific to the country that you're in. So we go into this place that was, where was this? I can't remember, but it was an ice cream place. Did you see the ice cream place video that I put up?
I did, yeah.
I don't know if it's an Iranian ice cream or what. Do you remember what it was?
I don't. No, it was a funny. Oh, I'll let you keep going, but
it was in Turkey. It was Turkish ice cream, I'm pretty sure. But what they do, if you haven't seen the video, you got to check it out. But what they do is they take it's very cool what they do. They put a little scoop of ice cream onto a cone, and then they hand it to you because the shop is elevated. So they hand it to you with this stainless steel holder. It's a big long stick. And when they hand it to you, as you go to grab it, they twist the stick so it gets out of your hand. You're not able to grab it. And really, you don't know what they're going to do with it, so you have to guess. And it's hard to snatch the thing out of his hand. So Lane's like, oh, that's pretty funny, man. Why don't you shake my hand? So he shakes his hand, and he holds on to it so hard he can't get his hand out. The guy's like, oh, sir, I didn't mean anything by it, stuff like that. And the whole time Laine is, chatterboxing, saying things to him. It was hilarious. It was awesome. I'm watching it right now. To see this in real life, I was so glad that I had the camera on there. Finally, one time, I had the camera going when I needed it to capture a funny moment. So everybody's got to watch that. So that's one of the 2 videos that I have up from the trip right now that are public, I think. There's some other ones that I took that are uploaded. Lifted his 510s, which again are super slick and they're really hard to lift. I was able to pick them up to lockout finally, but then I wasn't able to set them down. They squirted right out of my hand. First off, Laine lifted the Millennium dumbbell for 3 reps in a row.
Nice.
That was I would say that was the top feat that I saw. It was unbelievable. And that was on the first night when everything was really wet, and it wasn't a moisture that made it advantageous to lift things. We were 5 dudes training in a very small area. I think the area is only about maybe 10 by 10 or 12 by 12. A very small area, and everything was very hot, and the sweat was not dissipating off our bodies. So we had to turn the air conditioner on and really pump it to get some of that moisture out, because Laine was basically unable to lift the Millennium all the way because it was so wet. After we ran the air conditioner for a while, then he was able to smash 3 repetitions on it, maybe 4 or something like that. But I couldn't believe it. And I wanted to try it so bad that first night, but I could barely bend over. And when I just started squeezing isometrically into the handle, I could feel it in my back. Like, as Laine was saying, one of my discs were going to shoot out my ass. That's how, that's because that. I mean, dude, I was struggling. I was struggling for easily the better part of a week. The better part of 10 days, probably, I was struggling with this thing. So it was very, very tough. Let's see. He did some astronomical weight on the Russian roulette handle, the 2.5-inch Silarukov handle. That's up on Facebook. I don't have that on my channel yet. Let's see. We did a little contest. Me and Laine did a little contest against each other, how many Fat Man blob curls we could do in a row.
Interesting. How'd that go?
Yeah, that was, he blew me away. He totally smashed me. I got, I think, 2, and he got, I want to say, like 7 or something like that. He got a lot.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is a video, that's one of the clips I'll be uploading because we got that on film. All I've got it listed here is multiple, so I don't know what he got. But I want to say he got 7 for some reason, but it's only 30 seconds long, so I might be wrong on that. So my 2 goals going in were to lift the Millennium dumbbell, and then also to lift the 30 kilograms heavy grip tools blob, because I was able to break the 30 kilogram blob off the ground several times when I was there in September. So I wanted to be able to lift that to lockout this time. And I have been training block weights hard. Like, I'm easily the best I've ever been on Blobzilla right now, and Blobfather is feeling very doable. And alas, it still wasn't enough. I was not able to lock out that 30 kilogram blob. There's just something about it. Like, as soon as I get to about the 4 to 6 inch height mark on that lift, it like seems to pull right out of my hand, almost like there's a magnet pulling it right back down to the floor. It's bizarre. Yeah, I've never. I shouldn't say never, but it seems like I've never had so much trouble where I was able to get it 4 to 6 inches off the ground and then not pull it to lockout. Usually, once it breaks off the ground, if I'm not going to pull it to lockout, it's going to rip right out of my hand. But in this case, it's like that 4 to 6 inch range, I'm good, but then it falls out. Usually, if I can get something 6 inches off the ground, I'm going to lift that to lockout. I think what happened on the first night, I think it actually felt really, really good. But one of Bader's friends that was there went over and tried to, he really had no hope in lifting it, but he didn't chalk or anything, and I think he got some of his hand oils onto the blob, and I just could not get it back to the right texture, or at least that's what got me to sleep that night, why I wasn't able to lift it. And then the second night I tried again, and it felt okay, but I didn't want to wear myself out too bad because we had just lifted 2 days prior, and we were going to lift another day, so I kind of kept some stuff in the tank for the third day. And then third day I had some pretty good pulls on it, but it just wasn't in the cards for me to lift it. Laine was able to lift it, and I've got it on film, him doing so, and that should be up on the channel here before too long. And then we also did a little competition on the Blob 50 where we did the 2-inch lift, or 2-finger lift, and we did a rep out, and we tried to see how many we could get. And that might have been the thing where Laine got 7 reps, and then I was only able to get 2. But on that one, the 2 fingers that we were using was the middle finger and ring finger, and I just didn't feel great on my ring finger on my right hand. So I was kind of cautious with that so that I didn't end up hurting that finger any worse. And luckily by the end of the trip it was not bad at all. So I'm just being a little bit cautious with it, So those were some of the feats that went down. He also did kind of a series of singles on that Russian handle to try to see how heavy he could get, and I don't recall how heavy he got. That one might be up on Bader's YouTube channel, not YouTube, but Facebook. But lots of cool stuff, man. Lots of cool feats. I would say that if Laine isn't the guy with the strongest hands that I've ever met, then he's extremely close. He has to be 1, 2, or 3. And I've met a lot of strong dudes. I mean, Chad Woodall, Andrew Derniat, Rich Williams, is that his name? The big fellow from down south, Rich Williams. I'm drawing a blank.
Yes, I believe that's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
All those like Mark Felix, all those guys. But when it comes to thick bar, I have to put Laine Snook right there at the top, especially for one-handed lifts, because it was just amazing. And I just saw a video of Rich Williams the other day doing like 530 pounds on an axle and holding it. So his hand strength is up there. But I give Laine the nod because just from seeing him, he was able to lift the 30-kilogram heavy grip tools blob, able to lift the Millennium multiple times, do really heavy work, well beyond what I could do on the Rolling Thunder, on the Silarukov handle. I think he even did some work on the Crusher. I lost track. We did so much stuff, especially on the last night. We were just bouncing back and forth between things. So it was really something to behold. He's very, very talented. I think he could take pretty much all of the world records in grip sport if he wanted to.
Amazing.
Yeah, one of the things that holds him back is he also has a series of back injuries. He's had that corrected through surgery. Now what's going on is he's got a bad knee, and he's trying to get a knee replacement. So anything such as an axle deadlift from the floor would be problematic for him. He's got to be able to kind of take it from above his knee. So you're looking at things like the one-handed lifts, the handle lifts. He doesn't seem to have trouble with the Millennium because it's enough weight where he can just lift it with his glutes. He really does a hip hinge. He doesn't really do like a squat-style quad-dominant deadlift on any of these things because his knee won't work for him. So he's got to kind of have his knees locked in a fixed angle, almost like a Romanian deadlift, and
sure,
hip hinge everything up. So that's something that would hold him back from some of the records, but most of the records, dude, would be just if he wasn't able to break them today, then he would be able to break them really soon.
Sure, nice.
Just an absolute brute, absolute monster, but super nice guy. Holy cow, it was just awesome hanging out with him.
Yeah, I was always curious. I'd sent him that wrist wrench, I don't know, quite a while back, and we never heard, what he managed to pull on it or anything like that. So I knew it was up there, but I was always curious what he wound up doing. I even knew I think he has a Blob 50 that he actually has some studs welded onto for adding weight plates to it.
Yeah, I think
for training purposes. So yeah. But again, he just kind of puts that information out there, but he's not bragging about any of his lifts or anything. You don't see anything. It's just just once in a while something comes out, and it's kind of matter of fact when it does.
Right.
Yeah. So
yeah, definitely. It's matter of fact. He doesn't brag. I think you can take everything that he says at face value, because everything that he said he was going to do, he either did it, surpassed it, or came extremely close to what he wanted to do. The only thing that he wasn't able to accomplish during the trip that he said that he was hoping to was he thought he might actually be able to do 10 reps on the Millennium dumbbell. And with the conditions on day one just weren't right for that to happen. It was just like squirting out of his hand. But, that says something to think you might have 10 reps on the Millennium in you. So,
yes. Amazing.
I'm going down through the Explorer on my phone. So on the last training day, we actually did like a mini contest between all of us, kind of like a last man standing on the flask. And Laine and I equaled one another as far as like an actual legal pull. We didn't get legal pulls on the last weight that we did, and I couldn't even begin to tell you what the weight was. And it was all in kilos, and my brain was fried, so I couldn't tell you what it was. But I got to give him the win because he broke it off the ground further than I did.
Have you ever even touched a flask before?
I don't think so. Think so. Throughout the weekend we did, or throughout the week we did dynamometer squeezes, and Laine won every time we did it. He would edge me out by 2 to 4 kilos at least on all of the devices. I think we did it on 3 different grip devices.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a real badass.
Yeah. So I'm assuming with his knee condition, we didn't see any inch cleans or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. But he did lift the queen inch, which is what they call the inch that Bader has that's 98 kilos. They call it the queen inch, and he was able to lift that pretty easily. We did some facelifting. We both did. I think we both did facelifts of the Fat Man Blob. I tried doing a combination lift, facelift of the Fat Man and facelift of the Blob 50, and I wasn't able to get it, but he was able to lift it to lockout. I was able to break it off the ground maybe a foot a couple different times, but I just couldn't lock it out. And that was another thing where, man, I wasn't sure how much I wanted to really put into it as far as effort with my jiggered up right index finger, or right ring finger. So, yeah, and here's the queen inch lift. He picked it up and held it like pretty easily at his waist. I got to get that uploaded too. There's just some awesome stuff that went down, man. Really awesome stuff. Awesome food too. Holy cow. He can put some food away when he wants to too, brother.
How old of a man is Laine?
Oh, I think he's 50.
Okay.
He's 50.
Okay.
All
right.
He could be older, and I don't recall, but I want to say he's in his 50s. It could just be 50, but I'm not quite sure. I'm not seeing anything else as far as like other feats that we tried that I got on film. So if I didn't film it, I mean, I don't even remember what I did film, let alone the stuff I didn't film. So my memory's just shot in that regard. But it was an awesome experience. I'm so thankful and appreciative that Bader had us both over there. It was just an amazing time.
Yeah, what was the occasion that got Bader had you and Laine come down at the same time like that?
I don't know. I think maybe that Laine was available, so he invited me back. Maybe I don't recall. I don't recall. We started talking about it, I think, in maybe end of December or beginning of January, I think. And he ended up buying, I believe he bought Steve Gardner's Millennium dumbbell, which is one of the 7 that was originally produced. And then I believe I don't think he bought Laine's from him. I think he just had it shipped over so that there were 2 here.
I was wondering about that, how that worked out. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So as far as I know, nobody took any attempts on Laine's. Laine's is actually heavier, if I remember correctly. I think Steve's is 226. It's got the same thickness of handle as the inch, but it's longer. It's got a 5-inch handle. And then Laine's is a replica of one of those that was made by the Hall brothers, Holle.
Yes.
And yeah.
Was that how that's pronounced? Okay, I wondered about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Nathan made the the replica, and I think it came out a little bit heavier, maybe 232 or 234. So there's some variation there, and it's a lightly knurled handle. Now this is knurling that you cannot feel. It is so, I always thought that lightly knurled meant it was like a barbell knurled, not like a gripper knurled, but maybe like an old beat up barbell knurling. But no, you can't even feel the knurling. The knurling that's on this handle is, you can't even feel it. It does not give you any advantage whatsoever. In fact, I wasn't even sure where the knurling was, but one time I was rolling it and it caught just the right light, and I could see what looked like webbing, like an interwoven webbing or a screen, almost a screen-looking pattern on the handle. So I figured, is that the knurling, Laine? And he's like, yep, sure enough. And you could see it, and if you scraped it with your fingernail, you could feel some roughness to it. But as far as like your actual skin, there was nothing to even sense there with that light knurling.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did it just something separate here? So Steve Gardner actually sold his Millennium Bell. How did that? Being that he was like the co-creator of that, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder what made him decide it was time to part with that, or maybe he's got another one.
That's a good question. I didn't ask about it, and it didn't come up. So I don't know if maybe Bader made an overture to him to see if he would want to part with it, or I really don't know. That's a good question. That's a real good question. Okay,
interesting. All right. Well, maybe we'll get an answer to that someday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So now he's got all kinds of baby inches. He's got like a 125 and a 150 from Laine, and then he's got an inch dumbbell from now I'm forgetting who made it. So his inch dumbbell kind of has like that hourglass shape to it, like a real hourglass, not a reverse hourglass, but like where the handle's attached to the bells, it kind of widens out.
Sure.
So it almost impedes your ability to get your hand in there a little bit. So it feels a little different. But I forget what all the weights are of his inch dumbbell set. But he's got a lot of them. He's got a good little spread there. I believe he said he's working on building his own like training place, maybe another house with a bigger training area in there.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
How did he overlook that, not having his own like epic grip gym somehow? When you're talking about training in a 10x10 or a 12x12 area, I would think this guy would just have some monstrous, like literally commercial gym type setup almost, or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a few things. First off, he's got more stuff there now than when I was there before. One of the things that was cool about last time was I tried a max effort set for reps with his 70-kilo dumbbells, and I wanted to do that again, but I decided against it because of my back. And then he's also added some 200-pound dumbbells that I don't think he had there before. And I really wanted to play with those, too. I would have loved to do a set of rows with them. I guess what I'm trying to say is he gradually adds to it over time. So probably at one point, when it was just him training, he had perfect amount of space for himself. Now he's at the point where he's really maximized that space and needs a bigger area. So it may have been something that's been coming for a little while now.
Sure.
The other thing is, he is involved in so many different business ventures that it may just be that his training kind of takes a back seat sometimes, and he's only able to really like ramp it up certain times of the year. So it may just not have been a priority for him to grow his gym. But I know that there was some discussion that he's got plans to do just that, so that there's more room and stuff like that. So I think you'll probably see that coming here eventually.
Sure. Okay.
The other thing is he's only got like half-inch rubber mats on top of his tile on the
tile flooring. Okay.
Yeah. So he's got like a very dense rubber mat. So it isn't springy. Like I don't think it gives you assistance when you lift. But if you drop a block weight or if you drop a circus dumbbell, it bounces like you don't even know where it's going. Laine actually said that it made him somewhat uncomfortable with the circus, or I'm sorry, with the Millennium, setting it down because he wasn't sure where it was going to go. So that kind of weighed on his mind, I think. I mean, because you're looking at 226 pounds in your hand bouncing around where you don't know, and he's only on one good knee. So he wasn't the most mobile.
Not gonna dodge that thing.
Yeah, and the mat is only 4x4, a 4 foot by 4 foot mat. So throw in your actual real estate that you have that's protecting the floor is reduced. So that kind of has to be factored in as well. But one thing we didn't try is his old school York pinch plates.
Oh.
His old school Yorks are extremely slippery, way more slipperier than mine. So I wasn't interested in trying it all because I knew there was no chance I was going to be able to do it because I haven't worked that range of that thickness in quite some time. Plus the slickness issue would have been difficult. It would have been cool to see what Laine would have done, but we just never ended up doing it. We talked about it, but we just never ended up taking those off so that we could try it. I'm sure some other stuff went down, and maybe those guys got it on video and they'll be posting it sometime. But Laine and I both ended up getting very sick when we got home. I got home around like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, I believe, on Wednesday night of last week. And I spent the next 2 days in bed with what I believe is food poisoning. So I don't know if we got hit on the plane on the way back or if it was something that we ate while we were on the trip or what. Laine is also sick, so both had a stroke of bad luck there. But, thank God. I am so thankful that I was not dealing with it on the plane ride back. The 12-hour plane ride, Alan, that would have been extremely bad.
Yeah.
And I felt like not $1 million, but probably $750,000 when I got off of the plane. I felt pretty darn good, and felt just as good when I got home. And the lack of the $250,000 was really just from a long week and a long trip. But when I woke up at 3 a.m. on Thursday morning, I was in the red, dude. I was feeling very bad, and it came out of nowhere. I woke up out of a sound sleep, and I think I was making cookies or something really tasty in my dream, and I had to run to the bathroom in order to not decorate my whole entire bedroom. So
right.
It was pretty bad. I'm somebody that doesn't get sick like that. Like I don't ever get the flu shot, and I don't ever get the flu. I was not sick at all on this trip. I felt amazing. My sinuses and ears actually cleared out while I was there, so whatever allergy I have that gives me these infections all the time, I was feeling awesome. And we ate good, vegetables, fruits, quality proteins. Like I just think we got something bad the last day, and it set both of us off.
Yeah, that's crazy. Foodborne illnesses, that can take a little while to manifest, too. So, seldom do you eat something and then feel crappy like right afterwards. It generally kind of takes a little while to build up.
Yeah, totally true. Yep. Totally true, man. And that's one of the things they used to tell us when I was at the beef facility is you don't know what caused it. You can narrow it down, but it's like, maybe 5 days or something like that it can be in your system before it turns into a problem. So, yeah, that's
right.
Point. Yeah.
It's funny what you mentioned about cookies because I actually had food poisoning once, and it wasn't from cookies. But if I was going to get it again, I suppose I'd want it to be from like raw cookie dough because I absolutely love that stuff.
Yeah.
But otherwise I'd pass.
As far as I know, I've never eaten that, Alan, and that's why, because I've was scared by my mother as a child. Don't you eat that, you'll get sick. So.
Yep. Well, that's one I wouldn't encourage it in others. But like I said, if you were going to get sick from eating something, that would be the route I would recommend if you were looking to get sick from eating a food. But
right,
yep.
Right, for sure.
Well, at least you're feeling better. Because yeah, like I said, that is definitely no fun. Last time I had it, it felt like I got hit by a bus. I could hardly move out of bed. You were just praying every second that there was nobody else using the bathroom when you needed to get there.
Right.
You just never knew what was going to hit you. Right. So yeah,
Yep.
Not a lot of fun. Well, hopefully Laine's doing good. He never posts any updates, but hopefully he's bouncing right back from it too.
Yeah, I was messaging with him today, and he said that he was feeling a little bit better. So, yes, sir.
Good deal.
Well, yeah, I don't know when the next trip would be. He definitely still has plans to do more stuff that's grip related. And not just people visiting. So as those developments happen, and I can pass those along, I think it's going to be news that a lot of people will want to hear.
Sure. Is he going to be coming stateside one of these days, or?
He is actually.
Or just busting
sometime. I think he said this summer he plans on going to New York City for like an expo. Or something like that, business related. And I said, dude, it's only like 3.5 hours away. If you want to come up, you feel free to come up. If you don't think it's going to be possible, then I'll bring some stuff down. We'll get a good training session in, stuff like that. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Well, yeah, that'd be cool if you did come down. It could, more people might be able to make it in too, to meet the guy finally.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We just see him on the online, and that's about it. So.
Right. Yeah,
cool.
For sure. For sure, man.
Well, yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. I'd love to visit that place one day. It sounds amazing. I've never really been anywhere.
It's extremely intimidating. In other words, I would have a hard time enjoying myself if I didn't have a good friend like Bader or Rasak right there with me. It would be really, really hard for me because I'm just such a stay-at-home kind of guy. I've never gone anywhere either. So it's really stepping out of my comfort zone to do stuff like this. But these guys are so nice, welcoming, and nurturing, and they take us everywhere. It makes it really, really easy to deal with that kind of thing. So, yeah, if you ever got the opportunity, dude, I would definitely say to do it. It is an amazing place. And there's so much to see. I've been there twice, and I don't think we did anything a second time. Everything that we did this time was different from what I did last time.
Oh, cool.
And he said we still haven't done it all. So
he puts on quite a spread then for you. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. It's
cool.
It's a beautiful city. The nighttime stuff. The pictures that I take, it probably looks pretty cool, but it doesn't do it justice at all. The last night that I was there, I was going to have to get in the car to go to the airport at like 6 in the morning, and we didn't get back to the hotel until like 3 because we did a boat ride up and down this canal or whatever, this bay or something like that, and it was awesome, dude. It was just beautiful. Just amazing. I've never done that. Like, it was a boat ride where, like, not a guided tour, but like 4 of us sat on this big boat, and it was just sightseeing, and it was awesome. Just totally awesome.
Cool. So you said, your days kind of began at 1 o'clock, so was Bader actually like working, doing his day job when you guys were down there, and then he so he didn't like take the week off or something.
No.
He kind of business as usual. Okay.
And he had even more important stuff than normal that was going on.
Busy dude.
Yeah, he had to meet with like the government, they had like a government meeting, and it was like they were doing all these talks and stuff, like TED Talks. It was like really big. Like, I think he said Elon Musk was there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
huh.
It was huge. So it was like a big week. It was not like a coast through the week and we'll see what happens kind of deal. It wasn't. He was He was on the go. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yep. Crazy.
Yeah, something else, man. Something else.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, hey, did you get any measurements off of that Heavy Grip Tools blob?
No, I didn't. I should have, because everybody's going to be asking me about that. People love their measurements.
Yeah.
People ask me about certain blobs and block weights and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, I don't know how to measure. And then I'm like, well, I'll Google and see if I can find it somewhere, and I'll find one of my own damn videos. So I'll already have measured it on film and uploaded it, forgotten about it, and don't even remember that I did it. So yeah. But no, I didn't take any measurements. I'm sure Bader would do it for us if we asked him.
Sure. No, I'd just be interested how that compares to some of the things that we have, like the blob father or whatever, like circumference, anything like that. But
dude, okay. It's not. It just looks like a big blob. It really just looks like a big blob. It's not like the Legacy bell, heads that are really flat on one side and then really bowed on the other. It's like really similar on each side, and there's only like a small difference. It looks just like it's very similar to like just a Fat Man or Next Gen blob. It's just bigger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not altogether wide. It's not so wide that it's a problem. I think it's narrow enough that people with small hands would be able to eventually lift it. It's not like, for instance, trying to do a facelift. You know how with like a facelift of a blob, you're definitely limited by your actual hand size. Like there's some people with smaller hands that will never be able to lift it that way because they just cannot get their fingers over the edge the way that you would need to. They can't.
That's me. I can't get half a fingerprint over it.
Right. So, but this is not like that. It's just there's something about it where the training that I've been doing hasn't matched up specifically enough. Even though I've been doing a tremendous amount of block weight work, it's just not specific enough, and I don't have the strength to pull it all the way to lockout, unfortunately. I would need like more time. I think that right before I left. Oh, and by the way, I was supposed to cover something, and I can't remember if you and I have talked about this, but I put up a post saying, guess which block weights I just lifted. Do you remember that?
Oh, yes, I do, yes.
It was a combo lift. And
I put my 2 cents in on that.
Yep, and you were the first one to guess that I lifted the Fat Man clone and Blobzilla at the same time, and you were correct.
Oh, no kidding.
Yep. Only one other person got it correct, and do you know who that was?
No, who was that?
Bader.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't even see his reply.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Cool.
And
cool.
I think it may have been on Facebook, and maybe you guessed on Instagram. I'm not sure.
I guessed on Facebook.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
So he guessed much later, but you and he were the only two people that guessed correctly. And
interesting.
Yes. Yeah. I have never done that combination lift before with my Fat Man clone and the Blobzilla.
See, that was a tough one. I saw, I think it was after the fact, or maybe it was beforehand, but I knew at some point someone they thought it was the Robo Blob.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't quite look like that to me, but the picture was tough, and the edges looked really sharp, but that's why I still had to go with okay, cool,
yep.
Cool.
Yeah, you got it, dude. So I don't know what I said the prize was, but the prize is yours. It's on there. We can look at the post. But, yeah, so what I was going to say there, and this is what triggered me to remember that, is I would say that out of all the block weights I have, the clones feel the most like the 30-kilogram heavy grips blob. And the Fat Man clone, I believe, is I think they're 57, 58 pounds. And then 30 kilograms is 66 pounds, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so the 66-pound heavy grips is a little bit smoother as far as its natural surface, but the chalk on it, it sticks pretty well. So you get a good surface on it. The clone is much rougher, and you get better surface with the chalk, better traction with the chalk, but it just seems like the size of them and the mechanics and how everything moves and reacts when you lift it, I think those feel most similar to the 30 kilogram heavy grips or 30 kilogram heavy grip tools.
Okay. All right. I'd wanted a clone for my collection. I approached a guy, but we never even got to talk price. He just wasn't interested in selling.
Oh, really?
Yeah. and that's fine. I completely understand. But that was always something I wanted to add. But
right.
Well, with Silarukov out there now, maybe they'll take the bull by the horns and start making some of those bigger ones like we were seeing from Gladiator Power again and stuff.
Yeah, that would be
kind
interesting.
of bump them up a level. So.
Well, did I tell you that I'm going to have one of those on loan? One of the 24 kilo ones, the 53 pounder.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I reached out to a guy named Anthony Arvizo. He's on Facebook. I don't know much about him. He posts a lot. He's an absolute brute, dude. He's totally jacked. I think he's like 20s. He's in his 20s or something like that. He bought the whole set of Silarukov blobs. So I asked him, I was like, hey, dude, I would love to try this out. I've never seen one. I still don't know of any others in the United States. And I asked him, I said, I'll pay for shipping both ways. We'll insure it, blah, blah, blah. And it looks like sometime here pretty soon we're going to get everything worked out, and I'm going to be able to hold on to that for a little while anyway, get some lifts in on it, and see what it's all about. I'm looking forward to it. Nice.
Yeah, I had looked on Silarukov's site for some of those things, and I don't remember his. I mean, obviously, the shipping is expensive, but I don't remember it being, prohibitively so.
Right.
For a person, if you really wanted one, I don't, it just didn't seem completely out of line like what you'd expect, and I don't think the price of his block weights are even that unrealistic.
Yeah, well, I agree. And when you get into freight charges, it's almost like the more you buy, the cheaper it is,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he wasn't gouging anybody.
No.
It looked like it was probably kind of like an at-cost sort of thing on the shipping. He wasn't stacking anything extra. At least it's not how it appeared.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it's pretty interesting the way it works. Like, I don't know the exact formula, but I can give you estimates. But the thing that we ship a lot of is the inch dumbbell replicas. So I don't ship them, but I know what it costs to ship them. And it's pretty reasonable for an inch dumbbell to ship it. There's like a base cost where it's going to cost, let's say maybe $125. But to ship all the way across the nation, it might only be like $185.
Yeah, right. That was along the lines of what my thought was too. Is that for whatever reason, there's just not a whole lot of difference. It's like. Jet fuel or something like that should be so much more, but for whatever reason, it doesn't make any difference whether it's coming that way or UPS. It's kind of strange.
If you throw another dumbbell on there, it's not like it doubles. It doesn't double. It's only a certain percentage that it increases, and it's not too much. We actually had a guy buy 2-inch dumbbells one time because the charge for a second dumbbell was only like $20 or $25. For international shipping, so he went ahead and bought 2 of them.
Wow, I like that style.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
It's like, why not? It's like, buy one get one half off almost or something. Yeah.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's cool. I guess the moral of this story is don't talk yourself out of a purchase of real heavy stuff just because you think the shipping's going to be a lot, because it might not end up being nearly as much as you're assuming it is, especially when you get into like multiples and shipping like really heavy stuff. Sometimes it's surprisingly low.
Well, yeah, in our last call we had that discussion about shipping, and it's just the proportions aren't there. It's a small object with huge shipping versus large objects with smaller shipping.
Yeah.
It's like the ratio it's way out of whack for whatever reason, almost.
Yep.
Yep. Huh.
Yeah, for sure. It's very, very surprising sometimes, and sometimes that surprise is good, or that surprise can be bad.
Right.
Either way, you got to look into it because sometimes you get that good surprise.
Mhm. Yep.
Oh, yeah, man,
Awesome.
that's another trip to Dubai in the books, man. I'm still not fully recovered yet. I mean, even without the sickness, I don't think I would be fully recovered yet. But I'm looking forward to get back into some training this week, because after seeing what Laine's capable of, it's pushed me to go to an even bigger, higher level. You know what I mean? Like when you get a taste of what other people are capable of, it kind of it sets a fire in me. You know?
Well, it makes you see something that seems is almost an impossible task, and somebody does it right in front of you or makes it look easy. It does just that. It pumps you up and it makes you want to get right after it. You know, because all of a sudden it makes it real.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
Yeah. I'm chomping at the bit to get back in the gym, especially now. I think Mike Rinderly just sent me a video where he's looks like he's breaking the 245s off the ground. So it looks like he's going to be there here pretty soon. That's pretty cool too, man. So, yep, 245's got some air underneath him. There it is. Awesome. Well, that's one of his big goals that he's been talking about. So,
well, cool. Doing some grip-specific stuff anyway. Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, I can't think. That's pretty much it. If anything else happened, dude, that I've forgotten and it pops in there in the next few days, I will make a note of it, and we will talk about it on the next episode of This Week in Grip, dude. You got my word.
Sure. All right. Okay, we're going to wrap her up?
Yeah, buddy. I think it's time.
All right. Well, that's the bonus episode 44 of This Week in Grip. Like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below. Let Jedd know what you thought of his trip report. I was sure glad to hear everything. Sounds like meeting Laine Snook was quite the exciting thing. So we'll be back next week with another one, and Ricardo should be back then as well. It sounds like with another contest report, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll see you next week.